You're watching the Talkomania, and I'm your host CJ. Welcome back to another album ranking. This is going to be a re-ranking of Megadeth, one of my all-time favorites for thrash metal or any type of metal. I got into them really when I was just getting into the scene, and yeah, basically another band that gave me the kick in the ass to get into more heavier stuff and crazier stuff. Megadeth is still kind of heavy and crazy, but this list is going to be very controversial. Further ado, let's get into it. They have 16 studio albums. A new one just came out, and yeah, the new one's on here. So you're going to see where I put it and what the score I would give it, because I don't give it a score on the. And I won't be discussing it. I'll be just saying where it's at and just skipping past it because I already did a video on it. So my explanation is on that video. Number 16 is not Risk. Not Risk. Super Collider, number 16. This one's at number 16 because it's kind of a dull album. There's a lot more like dull moments, and there's some really good songs in here like Kingmaker. Super Collider is like to skip, honestly. You could skip the title track, which kind of is a bummer because the title tracks are usually like really good. But yeah, just not an absolute fan of that title track. Burn is pretty good. Built for War, Off the Edge, okay song. Dance in the Rain, beginning of Sorrow. The Blackest Crow, just that song is I skip that one every time I go back to this, which is not that often. Forget to Remember, kind of a iffy song too. Again, Don't Turn Your Back, really good song there, and Cold Sweat, kind of like a okay song. So mostly just like a mixed bag of like good and bad and mediocre. So yeah, that one comes in with a 7.5 out of 10. So really kind of a low placing for this one. Number 15 is one of the ones with the classic lineup, or the lineup that everybody says is the best, which is Cryptic Writing. This one is an 8.4, kind of the same with Super Collider. Probably go through like the best songs on here. Trust, Almost Honest. I'll get Even, She Wolf, Vortex. Those are probably the best ones on this album. The other ones are kind of like okay. It's really not that good for me, and I can probably want to listen to another album from them. Not really go back to Cryptic Writing too often. Same with number 14, which is The System Has Failed from 2004. The like return from when they disbanded for a little while and came back. Blackmail of Universe is just so fucking heavy just to start that album, and then Die Dead Enough, Kick the Chair. There's some really good ones, and then there's some really like duds, honestly. But not enough where it puts it towards where Super Collider or Cryptic is. It's an 8.8. This one is an 8.8. There's still some really good ones on here. Something that I'm not. Back in the Day. Back in the Day is good too. There's some really good ones and some like really ones I don't want to listen to again. Basically. Number 13 is where the controversy comes in. Euthanasia, or however you say it. And a lot of people are going to just absolutely tear me apart in the comment section for this one. It is a 9 out of 10, so it's like basically almost perfect. There's just one song that I really, really do not like in this album, and that is Train of Consequences, the big hit song on here. Other good ones like Reckoning Day, Addicted to Chaos, Atu Lemon, they're great songs. They have other ones like Killing Road, Blood of Heroes, and Elysian Fields. The rest of the album is just hit banger after banger after banger, and that just one is just so like I don't want to listen to that song ever again. It's been overplayed, and yeah, I just don't want to ever listen to it ever again. So that's that song. I'll skip it when I listen to this album because this album is still pretty good, and I still listen to it quite often. But yeah, that just one song just drags it way down, and you could blame the radios for that because they overplayed the ever-living shit out of that song. Number 12 is Risk with a 9.5, and that's going to surprise some people. I really, really fucking like this record, honestly. Stuff like Insomnia, and that just epic, just blasting guitar that they have on that song. Like, the guitar tone is just epic on that. A Doctor Is Calling, Crush 'Em, Deadline, Wanderlust, Ecstasy 7. There's just, this album is pretty fucking good. Just, it kind of gets boring after a while. Some of the songs drag on too long for what they're worth. Yeah, that's basically the only gripe with the album. So that's number 12. Number 13 is another 9.5. Another 9.5 and 11 because 13 is, yeah, I said 13 thinking it was, yeah. Sudden Death, Public Enemy number 1. Public Enemy number 1 being like every Megadeth fan knows what that song is because it's basically one of their bigger hits. Those Whose Life Is It Always? Another really good song. We the People, great song there. Guns, Drugs, and Money, kind of like a skippable track there. Never Dead, New World Order, kind of a skippable. Vastlane, Black Swan, Wrecker, Millennium of the Blind, Deadly Nightshade, and 13. Before I really didn't like this album until I like re-listened to it and re-listened to it and re-listened to it, and finally I just like got it, what they were doing with this, and thought it was okay and good, and eventually it got to the point where I think most of the songs are good. There's just a few that, there's just like one or two that I can listen to it, but I just don't enjoy it as much as the rest of the album. So yeah. Number 10 is actually the new album, the brand new album, which is another 9.5, so it gets the same score, but it's a little bit better than 13. And I already reviewed this one on the channel, so I'm not really going to discuss it. If you want to like find out why, then go check out that video, but please stick around to the end of this video. Number 9 is another controversial one. There's another song that I don't like on this one, but it's not as bad as Train of Consequences, and that is number 9 is Countdown to Extinction. I know I'm going to get destroyed for putting this one this low too, because this is like one of the ones that people think is the best album. In my opinion, it's number 9 on the list, and the reason why is the song Captive Honor. I really don't, I skip that song every time I listen to this album. There's a skip on this album. Basically, the ones up above it are 10 out of 10s, and there's no skips. This one is one skip and is a 9.5. Great classic songs like Skin on My Teeth, Symphony of Destruction. I used to not like that song until I like basically stopped listening to Megadeth for like 2 years and just went back to them. But yeah, Architecture of Aggression, Foreclosure of a Dream. There's some good ones on here. It's kind of like when they went away from the thrash metal and went more like groovy, like groove metal and heavy metal. Kind of an underrated era of Megadeth. I almost said Metallica. Confusing bands here, I see. Number 8, let's move on to number 8, or the first perfect album, is The World Needs a Hero. Yeah, not a lot of people are going to agree with me. This one is kind of this perfect, but there's just really, really good songs on here, like Disconnect, World Needs a Hero, Recipe for Hate, Warhorse. That's a great song as well. Dread and the Fugitive Mind, which is actually one of my favorite Megadeth songs ever. Like, the riff is just absolutely great on it. Return to Hangar and When has a sounding riff that kind of is reminiscent of one of the riffs off of the first 2 Metallica albums. I can't pinpoint which one it is right now, but yeah, it's just a really good album, and a lot of people kind of shit on it, but it really doesn't deserve the hate that it gets. Number 7 is Dystopia. I mentioned it in the review for the new album. This is like the best album that they did since like Endgame, which is still to come, that is still on the list. So yeah, there's good songs like "The Threat Is Real" starts the album off, and I did see him on the tour for this back in 2017. So it kind of connects with me more, as you would say. I listened to it when it first came out, and I was there for it first came out. So yeah, Dystopia, Fatal Illusion. That song is just so fucking heavy, honestly. And this is basically all D standard tuning, so it's a heavier album than normal. Death from Within, Bullet in the Brain, Post American World, Poisonous Shadow, Conquer or Die, Living in State, The Emperor and Foreign Policy. Just epic tales about dystopia and everything else. And yeah, basically the title of the album does it justice, and like it does justice for the Megadeth discography being like really good. So yeah, number 6 is going to be controversial for what's above it, which is So Far So Good So What, the first classic album, or what I think is a classic thrash age of Megadeth. Only one album with this lineup too. Like there's some really good ones like Set the World Afire, Into the Lungs of Hell, Anarchy in the UK, which is changed to Anarchy in the US, Mary Jane, 502, In My Darkest Hour, Liar, and Hook in Mouth. Just this album is absolutely balls to the walls, thrashy as fuck, and killer. But yeah, they've done 5 albums just absolutely way fucking better than this album. Set the World Afire is a cool song. How it starts out like the whole like spoken intro part, like they put like a sample of an old song in there, and then it just goes to just the most hard hitting riff you'd ever hear. It's great stuff there. Number 5 is one that I actually had a little bit higher on my first run through Megadeth back in like 2019, I think it was. Yeah, one of my older videos that I'm not really proud of, but will stay up on the channel because it's like kind of cringy but and funny to watch me try to like actually speak. And like basically I was camera shy back then, and I was just really bad at doing videos. So yeah, I wonder why I didn't have a lot of subscribers back then, because my videos absolutely sucked back then. But yeah, number 5, United Abominations. I know a lot of people are going to say should be the bottom of the list, but like I don't get it. Sleepwalker and Washington is next. Holy fuck, those 2 songs. No, no one will escape when I close my eyes. Just absolutely fucking love that song. Absolutely. Never Walk Alone, Cold Arms, United Abominations, about the UN. About the UN, honestly. Years of War, Blessed Are the Dead, Play for Blood, To Lamont, Set Me Free, and it ends with Burned Ice. Just fucking crazy stuff here. It's basically like the crazy conspiracy theory type stuff that Megadeth was doing at that time when they returned. It's like the follow up to like System Has Failed, which was kind of a letdown, but like, God man. Number 4 is Endgame. I mentioned this one before being like one of the best ones. Like this is the best one of their newer albums when they returned since the 2004 return. Songs like Dialectic Chaos, This Day We Fight, for 44 minutes. 44 minutes being about the Hollywood shootout, which was metal as fuck to sing a song about. 1320, Bite the Hand, Bodies, Endgame. Hardest Head Crushers on this album too. That's like one of the biggest Megadeth songs for people to get into the newer stuff. It's like, oh, listen to Head Crusher. Head Crusher is absolutely a crushing song, and it is a crushing song. I very much think that this is one of the most underrated albums that they ever did, and a lot of people don't give it the credit it deserves. That's why I'm doing it. Number 3 is big controversy here. I already said this list is controversial. This is usually people's absolute favorite. My favorite is pretty controversial, and yeah. Rust in Peace at number 3. I know a lot of people are going to destroy me in the comment section for that. But yeah, there's two albums that are better, and like, yeah, as you already know which two they are, which order are they. You're gonna find out, and you're really gonna hate me for what order they're in. But Holy Wars, Punishment Due, Hangar 18, Hangar 18 being like an absolute fucking crazy song with just absolute solo after solo after solo after solo. Take No Prisoners, Five Magics, Poison Was the Cure, Lucretia, Tornado of Souls, another one of those like one of the like premier thrash songs that people would like pinpoint of like the songs that get them into playing guitar. Probably Tornado of Souls or any of the Megadeth stuff. Dawn Patrol and Rust in Peace Polaris. This album is the progressive thrash album that gave us the debut of Marty Friedman on guitar. You only had like really one good thrash album with him, and then they went to more of like a groove, and then he didn't get to show his talents on the soloing, and yeah, this is basically like the only album that is thrash with Marty Friedman in it. So, and it's one of the best albums that they've ever done. But there's two other ones that I consider to be superior to that one, which is number 2, Peace Sells. You already know what number 1 is, and you're probably very pissed, but yeah, it's my list, and yeah, I like the rawness of the album that is number 1. Wake Up Dead, The Conjuring, Peace Sells, Devil's Island, Good Morning, Black Friday, Bad Omen, Ain't Superstitious, and My Last Words. Just absolute classic after classic after classic. And this is like the original lineup, I think, as well. So it's like basically after the Raw debut album, um, they just went and cleaned everything up, which you're gonna find out like soon where that one is at. Wake Up Dead, just Wake Up Dead is just such a great fucking song. Like, honestly, every song on here is just so fucking good. But then the one at number 1 is just beyond fucking great. Like, honestly, in my opinion, just beyond great. Which is Killing Is My Business, the first album, the first Megadeth release. Yeah, it's a fucking mess. It's a very much a fucking mess. If you try to play any of these songs on guitar, it's an absolute mess to play them. Because you have to stretch really far for Killing Is My Business. Skull Beneath the Skin has this weird intro that they have that is just so fucking cool. And the riffs from it are so cool. Rattlehead is just so rattly and crazy and just an absolute crazy album. Chosen Ones, Looking Down the Cross, and Mechanics, which is the Four Horsemen riff. The Four Horsemen like riffs made into the and I think it's the original lyrics for the Metallica song that they had on their debut, like their EPs and demo tapes when Mustaine was in Metallica. And he decided to put it on Killing Is My Business, which is awesome in itself. And yeah, this album is just so raw and crazy, and the whole thing behind it is it really wasn't, they didn't take their time recording it. It was basically just a fucking one and done. But yeah, it's basically like the album that is good because it is so bad production. And yeah, it's basically why I think it's the best album, because it has the best song selection in my opinion. I think that Skull Beneath the Skin is my favorite Metallica Megadeth song ever. Like it, and Mechanics is a close second. So yeah, that's why it's number 1, and I can't apologize for it being number 1 because it's where I would rank Megadeth. So this is the worst part of the video. This is where I gotta end it. Hope you guys liked it. I spent a lot of time re-listening to all the albums, which I really enjoyed doing because I haven't listened to some of these albums in a long time and didn't know where they would fall, and yeah. So this is where I'm going to end the video. Hope everybody liked it. Comment if you didn't agree or where you would put them, and I will see you guys in the next video. And stay metal.